Alrighty, so I am live here with an impromptu live stream. So some of you might not catch it initially when it's live, you might catch it afterward, but here I am. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about the NFL wildcard games and give you a little small preview and predictions of this, depending on how many people come in here and whether or not people are engaging in the chat. This could go between a half hour to possibly an hour. So we're going to get on into it. And before I get to that, yes, I did hear the news about Derek Carr. He is officially parting ways with the Las Vegas Raiders. Derek Carr announced via Twitter that he's no longer going to be with the Raiders organization in 2023-2024 NFL season. So now that creates a list of potential options Derek Carr could go to. Some of those options you could possibly have, QB needy teams such as the Saints, because, they've been desperately looking for QB. Maybe the Colts, because, they've been trying to get that QB desperately. So the Indianapolis Colts are another possible option for Derek Carr. Maybe the Panthers, because they've been trying to go for the quick fix at QB instead of drafting somebody. So those are some possible options for Derek Carr going forward. Be right there. Maybe see. Another possible option. Maybe the Dolphins, if they really don't think Tua can stay healthy long enough to be that guy. Maybe if the Vikings do decide to move on for Kirk Cousins, which is unlikely, but maybe. But I'm thinking maybe more so a team like the Saints or the Panthers, or maybe the Seahawks. So they feel like, okay, Geno, had a nice year, but we know he's not the guy long term. So those are some possibilities right there as to where Geno Smith could go. So that's but we will ultimately have to see, though, what happens with Derek Carr and where he ultimately does decide to go. But we'll keep up that more, and let's get into it. So we came here to talk about the wild cards. So I'm not going to ramble on forever about that right there. So let's get ready. Let's get into it. So we got 6 wild card matchups right here. So I'm going to go by conference right here, do preview of these games by conference. So let's get into it. So let's start with the NFC 2 versus 7, San Francisco 49ers versus Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, the 49ers, they got hot in the season once they pulled off the Christian McCaffrey trade. McCaffrey has proven to be an asset to that Niners team. And plus, their defense is lights out. And you got also, too, with the 49ers, you got those receivers right there on that offense, like Deebo Samuel you have as a weapon. But is he even going to be playing in the wild card? I'm about to pull up on ESPN the depth chart right there and see if these guys are even going to be playing or not. Let's see. Because that'll give me an overview of their depth chart, see who's out, who's in. Yeah, the 49ers, their offense, they got a ton of pieces right there, though. Yeah, you do have Deebo Samuel, who will be playing. You get George Kittle at tight end, of course. Got Christian McCaffrey, of course. On the defense side of the ball, I got Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, of course, Javarius Ward. So they're loaded with talent right there. And even with the QB situation, with Jimmy Garoppolo out, Trey Lance on injured reserve, they have to start relying on Brock Purdy. They had enough talent to make it this far. Now, I do think personally, as far as the playoffs goes, that lack of great quarterback play will come back to bite them and prevent them from being able to reach the promised land. But this is more so about the wild card previews. I'm not really going to get into that. But obviously, the Niners were kings of their division this year. Granted, sure, that does part have to do with the Cardinals and Rams falling off. But still, credit to the 49ers. They put up a great effort here. They got a talented roster. And hey, usually when they're not bombarded by injuries, they can at least make a run for it. And they made a run this far. Now, the Seattle Seahawks, there's our surprise team. One of our surprise teams of the season. The Seahawks. Now, let's be real. Who had expectations for the Seahawks going into the season? Let's be honest. You think anyone really had expectations for them going into the season that they were going to go far? Nah, I don't think so. I don't think anyone had those big expectations for the Seahawks here. Because, with the Seahawks, you have, they got rid of Russell Wilson. You saw they struggled last year even with him. So we didn't think they were going anywhere with the team that they had. We sure they had DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, but we didn't really expect much from them. But surprise, surprise, they managed to make it this far. The fact they managed to make it to 9 wins and make the playoffs, sure, as a 7th seed and a team that's probably going to get eliminated. Oops, spoiler alert for my pick for who's going to win this game. But I got to give credit to the Seahawks for making this far. And Geno Smith had himself a solid season. Let's see how Geno Smith did statistically. Let's see. So he had 4,282 passing yards, 8th for the season, 30 touchdowns and 11 picks, which to say we got a 30 touchdown season from Geno Smith, that's amazing right there. I mean, who would have thought we'd see that from Geno Smith of all QBs? Geno Smith, who was drafted by the Jets, who got punched by his own teammate. Geno Smith, who played 1 game for the Giants and a dumb decision to bench Eli. Who was a backup with the Chargers. That Geno Smith actually had a Pro Bowl season this stage in his career. Who would have thought? But it happened, and the Seahawks made it this far. So good for Geno Smith. He has that 1 year. And good one. Nice shout out to Pete Carroll for getting them this far. But I just think with, guys like Marquise Goodwin on IR, and those guys, and I just, Rashad Penny on IR, I just feel like the 49ers being the better overall team, they'll get the better of the Seahawks in this one right here. Even though, yes, it is true that the Seahawks made a hell of an effort. I just feel like the 49ers are the better overall team. They have much more talent, and ultimately they'll get the better of them. So I got to pick the 49ers in this one right here. I think they're going to come out on top. I mean, the Seahawks could put a fight on it, right? A fight out of it, but I just see they're just going to be outmatched right here. So I definitely got the 49ers winning this one right here. A score of maybe say 27-17, something along those lines. So you got the 49ers winning this game right here, and they'll go on to play the win. But then let's see what happens. The next game, jumping ahead there for a second, excuse me. So you have the Minnesota Vikings versus the New York Giants, rematch of their Christmas Eve matchup right there, where the Vikings won at home on that Greg Joseph 63-yard field goal. But this time around, it's going to be a little different. The Giants are coming in here. They're going to want some form of revenge. So, they're going to come here and take this game serious. But the Vikings, man, Vikings are clearly a talented team, and they've done an excellent job turning this thing around right here. So, I got to give the Vikings credit right here. But you got Kevin O'Connell, man. I mean, Kevin O'Connell's done a nice job turning this thing around. Great improvement from Mike Zimmer right here. Now you see the Vikings starting to live up to their true potential right here. They still got a lot of talent right there. Got the Adam Thielens, Justin Jeffersons of the world right there. You still got Dalvin Cook in the backfield. So I feel like they're just a better all-around team, like you saw during the regular season. Now, credit to the Giants for putting up a good fight right here. They're doing better than anyone expected to. But clearly, in this case, the Vikings are the better team. And they got them in the regular season, but I feel like they're going to get them again here. Now, there is the possibility, though, with it being a playoff matchup, because sometimes these playoff matchups, the better team on paper can lose. It's happened several times. Remember the last time the Vikings were in the playoffs when they upset the Saints in New Orleans. We thought the Saints were clearly the better team on paper, but the Vikings got them in that matchup. So sometimes in these games, playoff games, sometimes upsets happen. Team comes in motivated and hungry, and the team that seemingly on paper is the better team gets a little overconfident, get a little zealous. They start sleeping on their opponent, and then voila, they get the best. The other team gets the better of them. So in the following case, 2020, Seahawks-Rams. We thought the Seahawks were the better team in that one, but it didn't pan out that way. And, the Rams got the better of them. So we'll have to see what happens right there. And with the Giants right there, though, I mean, I got to give credit to Brian Daboll. He's got this team this far right there. Now, Daniel Jones, I'm still not sold that he's the long-term option. If you look at some of the games the Giants have won this year, they have had the privilege right here again playing against teams, likes of the Houston Texans, the Indianapolis Colts, the Tennessee Titans, some of those teams. They had the privilege of going against the Packers, who struggled throughout the season, the Bears. So the fact they had a softer schedule does play a role. But hey, Brian Daboll's got this team finally maximizing on its potential. You got Saquon Barkley had a good season and managed to stay healthy. Daniel Jones, he played better than he usually does. He didn't play lights out, but he played good enough. He minimized the mistakes compared to past years, and it paid off with the Giants getting in as 9-6 in one record, or 9-7 in one record. I apologize. I'm still keep thinking 16 games, but yeah, Giants got in with a 9-7 in one record, and the Giants are so doing credit to them for making it this far. I mean, maybe they do catch them by surprise right here. Maybe the Vikings come in overconfident, and the Giants could win, but I think that would be the Giants' best chance of winning is to get them coming in overconfident. But I still think the Vikings are the better all-around team, and they should be able to win because you saw the Giants later in the season start to fall apart a little bit. They started losing some more games, and they stepped up a little bit. So I still don't think the Giants are quite ready to contend yet. I mean, they might pull up the upset here, but I think that would be the furthest they get if that does in fact happen. I think if they do win, they'd have to face the Eagles divisional round, and we'd get the better of them. But even then, I mean, there's a part of me thinking maybe the Giants, but I think the Vikings are the better all-around team right here. I still think they got this team's number right here. And we still know how Daniel Jones is going to play in the big games because we know Jones sometimes when the pressure's on him, he struggles. Even throughout the season, we've seen that Daniel Jones struggles when the pressure's on. So I don't really have that much confidence that he's going to be able to perform that well when the pressure's on in the playoffs because Daniel Jones has never been in this situation. So we don't know what it's like and what we're going to get from Daniel Jones when he has to step up right there come playoff time. So I'm just thinking, I'm thinking personally that he's just going to flame out here in the playoffs because I don't trust Daniel Jones under pressure. So I'm going to go with the Vikings to win this one. So that would then set up 2 versus 3, 49ers versus Vikings in the divisional round. Then that would set up the winner, the Cowboys and Bucks, to play the Eagles. If those two predictions come true, or except, well, I kind of gave it away right there. Yeah, they set up the winner of the Cowboys Buccaneers game to win. I think personally the Cowboys should be able to win this game because the Bucks, they beat them in the regular season, but the Bucks won a terrible division. Let's not forget. And Tom Brady didn't exactly have his best year. Sure, it was good enough to get him to win the division, but let's look at the Buccaneers' schedule and who they had to play. Who did they play in this? They played, they had to play twice against the Panthers, twice against the Saints, twice against the Falcons, but they won 5 of those games. So 5 of their 8 wins came against their division. Who else they beat outside? The Cowboys week 1. Who else? They struggled to beat the Steelers. They lost to the Browns, lost to the Bengals, and they lose to the Ravens too? Hold on. I'm actually going to go real quickly look up the Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule right here. But the point being is they, for the most part, had easier schedule, and they capitalized and took advantage of it. Not to mention, they beat the Cardinals too. Not to mention they got destroyed by the 49ers. So I just think I don't trust the Buccaneers in this one. I feel like, and not to mention they're coming in with a losing record, which is I can't stand that personally. Teams with losing records in the playoffs. I just don't think that's going to pan out well. I just don't like the idea of it. I just feel like they're just doomed to fail ultimately. It's like, first off, you're lucky you're even in the playoffs in the first place. You lost more games than you won. The only reason you're in is because your division was doo-doo. That's it. It's the only reason you made it. And that here is the case with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So they should be glad they're here, personally. You saw moments Tom Brady looked washed. So, I don't think they're going to be able to get past the Cowboys this time around. I mean, now I think the Cowboys will eventually, I think come second round, they'll catch up to them and they'll get eliminated. But I think they should at least be able to get past the Bucs in this one. So I'll take the Cowboys in this one. I mean, you never know with Tom Brady come playoff time. Maybe he might just pull rabbit out the blue. Maybe with Mike Evans coming back to form, he could surprise people. Don't be surprised if it happens. But the way this team is going this year, don't be surprised if it doesn't happen, though. Because even though we become known, hold on a second. Even though we're at the point where we pretty much have been conditioned to see, hey, never bet against Tom Brady because he can always make something happen. He can make something out of it. Yeah, but you know what? So there is a chance it could happen, but I just don't see it this time around. I just don't think this time around you're going to get that from Tom Brady. So, I'm going to pick the Cowboys in that one. So those are my predictions right there for the NFC side of things. Now, let's move on to the AFC. So for the AFC here, we'll start Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins. Miami, if you had told me going into the season that this would be a playoff matchup, I would not have been surprised by that. Because I looked at the two rosters going into it and I thought, these are teams that could definitely make the playoffs. So no surprise there for me. But what I was surprised is the way the Dolphins collapsed. Just a flat-out embarrassing collapse right there, where they nearly missed the playoffs. They got lucky that final week of the season. They were playing against the Jets, a Jets team that had fallen apart, mind you, in the later part of the season. So they're lucky they are even here, and they're going to be going to this no Tua. And what do they have to start their third string quarterback right here in this one? I don't like their chances at all right? I do not like the Miami Dolphins' chances of winning this one because who do they got? Who's going to be starting their quarterback? So there's no Tua because Tua's been injured. But this is his third time in the concussion protocol, this season, which that's alarming about the Dolphins' future right there. You got Skylar Thompson's going to be playing, and you got Raheem Mostert questionable, Jalen Waddle's questionable, Alec Ingold questionable at fullback. Yet the left tackle and left guards are questionable. The right tackle's questionable. You're battered on offense. You'll be lucky if you can even make this competitive if you're the Dolphins. So I clearly see the Buffalo Bills being able to win this matchup right here. And clearly they're coming into this more motivated. They want to play for DeMar Hamlin and try to win in honor of him to at least do him a service right here. So, they're going to go out there motivated. And they still got their guys, though. They still got Josh Allen, Devin Singletary, Stephon Diggs. Isaiah McKenzie is questionable. All the other guys, Gabe Davis, second string back, James Cook. All the other linemen are healthy. Their defense is pretty much healthy for the most part going into this one. They got Tre'Davious White, who was missing last year in the playoff run, who they needed in that game against the Chiefs. But you know what? Clearly I got to go with the Bills in this matchup. They're clearly the better team. The Dolphins should just be glad they're even here in the first place. I'm still uncertain about where they're going to go in their future, but should at least be glad they at least made it here to the playoffs. So I got the Bills easily winning that one right there. Let's move on. Cincinnati Bengals, Baltimore Ravens. This feels like another predictable matchup right here. I got to go with the Bengals. You've seen the Ravens have fallen apart without Lamar Jackson. This is the second straight season this has happened, but except this time, though, with the Ravens, they at least have the benefit of they won more games before Jackson's injuries caught up to him, but there's a good chance. I was talking about this in a little group chat going, the Hardcore Sports Network, where we put together a little stream where we just chatted. We didn't do it publicly, we did it private. But long story short, in that stream I mentioned, good chance Lamar Jackson could be gone from Baltimore if he doesn't play, which it doesn't look like he's going to. He missed practice again. You only got Friday's practice. Hold on. So, yeah, I see. Yeah, he's going to be doubtful right there. So and Tyler Huntley's questionable. They might have to start a third stringer named Anthony Brown against the Bengals. And you saw they did, just last week against them. I mean, I don't really trust them at all in this game right here. I think the Ravens, they're just lucky they got more out of Lamar during the season to even make it to the playoffs, but good chance they're going to move on from him, and who knows where their future could be. It looked like the Ravens are on the start of their decline, and this playoff matchup right here, I feel like this is starving right here, but you look at the Bengals, they're healthy. Burrow, Dixon, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Hayden Hurst, the whole line, minus right guard Alex Kappa, they're all going to be in the game. Their defense is pretty much healthy. Jesse Bates third, Von Bell. Yeah, their linebackers, their D-line. You got right cornerback Cameron Taylor. Britt is the only one questionable. Or Cameron Taylor Bright, he's the only one questionable, but Bengals are clearly going this team healthy. They got a lot of weapons to work with, so I got them winning this matchup. So this is going to be kind of a breeze right here. So now I got the Jaguars and Chargers. On paper, this should be an easy win for the Chargers, but this one might be a little bit tougher because look at the way the Jaguars are rolling as of lately. They started to get hot late in the season, and when you're hot, you can be hard to stop. Sometimes teams get hot at the right time, and it works in their favor. Now, do I think the Jaguars are going all the way to the promised land? No, I'm not saying that. I don't see that happening. What I am saying, though, is with the Jaguars, they managed to win 9 games and win that division and went out. They started winning late in the season. So I think that could be good enough right there for them to possibly, come out with the W in this one. I think there's a good chance they come out, get the W here, take care of business. I mean, there's a chance that could happen right here. They could get the Chargers because, Brandon Staley sometimes a questionable play caller, but the Chargers do have the better all-around team. But here's the big mistake the Chargers made, though. Mike Williams, they let him play in a meaningless game. He got hurt. So there's a chance that missing Mike Williams could hurt the Chargers. So there's a good chance the Jaguars could get it here. But however, you still got Justin Herbert's there at QB. He's been pretty much carrying the Chargers through this run. He's been one of the main pieces there. You got Austin Eckler still going to be playing. Keenan Allen's still in. And they still got most of their guys on defense are healthy. Although you do have Christian Covington on IR, Joe Gazzano on IR, but you still have Khalil Mack, Asante Samuel Jr., Nazir Adderley, Derwin James, Joey Bosa still going to be in. Sebastian Joseph Day's in. And the Jaguars, I don't know how they're going to handle the playoff situation right here. I mean, this could be a tough one because the Jags, this might just be their time to match up, but the Chargers are the better team on paper. Remember, Justin Herbert isn't going into this hurt like he was in the regular season. So I kind of, this could be a toss-up game right here for me. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just feeling like this might be the time for an upset right here. Maybe this is the game where the Chargers Chargers get upset. And I feel like the Jaguars pull up the upset and get the win right here. So, yeah, those are my predictions right here for the wild card round. And I'm going to clip this next part into a separate video. So this part is clipped into a separate video. So even if you're watching either the live stream on the replay or you're watching the video that was clipped from this. You can leave a comment. Let me know your predictions for the wild card round, who you got winning the games here. So give me one more time my predictions here. For the NFC side, I got the 49ers to beat the Seahawks. I got the Vikings to beat the Giants, and I got the Cowboys to beat the Bucks. Now for the AFC, got the Bills over the Dolphins, Bengals over the Ravens, and I'm going to take the upset. I'm going to go with the Jaguars over the Chargers. So those are my picks right there. We'll see if those picks pan out. We'll see if I completely jinx those picks, and if you guys can come back and laugh at me a week later and say, ah, ha, ha. But ultimately, we'll have to see what happens come game time. Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday night in the case of the Cowboys and Bucks. So that's right. But again, you guys can leave me your predictions if you're watching this, after it's been recorded, which most of you probably will be. You can leave a comment in the comments. Let me know what you think, what your predictions are, and we will see what happens. So this stream's over. So to everyone that tunes into this, whether you caught me live or whether you caught me on the replay, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. Enjoy the rest of your night or day. And it's Nicky Stees signing off. Until next time.